did they end up getting her? And she went back to the scene in a different vehicle.
No, same one.
Same one. It was damaged. And it's
the husband, they're both coming from a kid's game. And so the husband came upon the scene after she'd already went home and told her to get back here. So she drove back to the scene, just as EMS and everybody else was going.
And then it was obvious that she admitted causing the accident at that point?
She didn't. She had thought she hit a raccoon, or she swerved to miss a raccoon. Some of the things you heard today were all part of her statement.
But the police...
Well,
had a witness.
She was heading back to her home, and a guy who's an off-duty Garrettsville policeman was heading the opposite direction and noticed the car, obviously, because it had sustained such heavy damage. And so then he decided that, then he comes upon the scene. So then all of a sudden when she returns to the scene, sort of by two and two together, they ended up realizing what happened. And the husband gets out and he goes, "Oh my God, my wife did this," and drops his cell phone. So it's pretty clear what happened. And her 10-year-old that was in the front seat with her also said that during the course of the investigation that she was holding Mommy told me to use her iPhone to check for the weather, and so she was holding it, and it's consistent with what probably happened is that the two of them were looking at that phone because there was shards of glass. The windshield was smashed so badly there's shards of glass all the way to the back of the car, and if they were both looking straight forward, they'd lost their eyes. Glass all over their face. There was cuts on their arms and cuts on their legs. But so it was consistent with what the 10-year-old said, because one of the first things we wanted to do, and for the Henley family, and one of the reasons it took 2 months to indict it, was make sure that Kelly Cox didn't kill him on purpose, because they did have a case. Cox family had a case in front of Judge.
They did?
Yeah. It was on the docket. So.
What was that about?
Thanks, no problem. Familial matters.
Family matters?
Yeah. Can't really get into it because it's protected, privileged stuff that took place. It's now being entertained at the national account.
Hey, Dave, at the sentencing, one of the things you mentioned was how disappointed you were in her kind of refusal to take responsibility. We heard that today. Has anything changed from your standpoint in terms of her taking responsibility?
Even today, there was taking responsibility and just saying that she's sorry doesn't amount to the fact that she drank a lot of liquor. And the judge went through the methodology and we knew it was going to be somewhere around 0.32, and he has it at 0.37. So we knew she had at least a fifth of liquor in her by the when she did this. And come out and admit it. I think the judge may have taken it into consideration, but she didn't about it.
And what sort of closure does this, sort of bring, to the families?
Well, hopefully it brings some closure to them. Some have traveled great distances, obviously, to get here and find out that she received the maximum sentence, which is all the court could give. But I think at the end of the day, as we all said, that nothing brings Chip back, so it really doesn't help.
And obviously, he worked for you. You worked in front of him. How difficult was it to prosecute a case like this?
It was. The hardest part was actually being there at the scene that night and seeing them laying on the ground, and you realize that, for those of us who run and bike and jog on the roads, that but for the grace of God go any of us. It's a tragic, tragic event, and I'm just so sorry that Chip has passed on in such a sad way.